Hi everyone! First of all, thank you so much for all the support on the first video. I honestly wasn't expecting so many people to be excited about this project. Reading all your comments has been really motivating. Like I mentioned before, I'm finally in the last stages of completing my own physical version of Plants vs Zombies Heroes. And today I wanted to show you some of the biggest design decisions that went into making it. This project actually started a couple of years ago. Pretty quickly I realized something. PvZ Heroes is huge. It's a huge game. There are so many mechanics happening automatically in the app that translating everything into a physical tabletop game isn't nearly as straightforward as it sounds. Now, I am by no means a board game designer. When it comes to board games, I've played things like Catan, Villainous, Star Wars Villainous, Wingspan, and a lot of games in that realm. I've also seen people play Magic the Gathering, but never really got deeply into it. So everything you're about to see came from a lot of trial and error, and a lot of asking myself, how can I make this feel like a real PvZ Heroes game? The board. The very first thing I knew I needed was a board. PvZ Heroes is an incredibly visual game. Playing it on a plain table just didn't feel right to me, but the app board already contains so much information. You've got 5 lanes, a water lane, the heights lane, team up positions, the hero areas, the block meter, hero health, environments. All of that needed to live somewhere. So I started sketching layouts on paper until I came up with something that felt faithful to the original game while still being practical to play on. I also wanted every lane to have room for team up plans and added dedicated spaces for environments. Although I realized there's a couple of mistakes, but I can fix that later. As you can see, I accidentally printed environment spaces over the water in heights lane. Those shouldn't be there, but they will get fixed for version 2. Originally, I also considered making this a playmat, since that's really common in other card games, but I had almost no experience using playmats. Most of the board games I own use traditional folding boards, so that's what felt most natural to me. The downside, because PvZ Heroes uses vertical lanes, the finished board ended up being pretty big, but pretty cool to look at. Hero health. One of the easier problems to solve was hero health. At first, I imagined building a giant heart made of 20 removable heart pieces. And then I thought about using 20 separate heart tokens. It worked, in theory, but it felt like way too much of a setup. I've already had so many other things piling up on the board. Then I mentioned the project to my brother. He does play Magic the Gathering, and he looked at me and simply said, "Why don't you just use a 20-sided die?" And sometimes the simplest solution really is the best one. So that's exactly what I did. Here are the die that I selected. The spinner. Now, this was probably the mechanic that kept me awake the longest. There were actually several different problems happening at the same time. Some cards choose a random lane, others choose a random position. The block meter also needs random values. My first instinct? Dice. And more dice. Then even more dice. Eventually I realized I was just creating more clutter. So I asked myself, what if one component could solve multiple problems? That's when the spinner idea was born. Here's one of my earliest sketches. I drew circles, dividing them into sections, trying to fit as many random mechanics as possible into one place. And after several redesigns, this became the final spinner. Instead of reaching for different dice throughout the game, players can simply spin once and immediately get the information they need. And with this spinner, you will get the value for the heart block meter, the lanes, and positions on the board. The block meter. The block meter gave me headaches. In the app, it just works. You never really think about it. but once you try to recreate it physically, you realize how many little things are happening automatically. Just like the hero's health, I considered building a removable 8-piece block meter. I thought about puzzle pieces, different trackers, all kinds of little crazy ideas. Nothing really felt right. Eventually, I landed on something much simpler. Just like the hero's health, I went for a 10-sided die. Every time the spinner gives you a heart meter value, the die increases. And once it reaches the trigger point, in this case number 9, the superpower activates. It keeps the mechanic fast, easy to track, and I feel it still captures the feeling of the original game. Ability tiles. Something else that I kept thinking about was, how do players keep track of everything? Cards can gain abilities, lose abilities, increase attack and health, and decrease attack and health. Sometimes every plant or zombie on the board changes at once, so I intentionally left space above every card for ability tile. Attack and health can be represented directly on top of the cards. I'm also experimenting with modifier dice and dice with different values. I'm still testing those ideas, but so far they've worked surprisingly well. The turn tracker. One thing I absolutely wanted to preserve from the app was the flow of each turn. Whenever I played PvC Heroes, I always found myself glancing at that little turn tracker. It quietly tells you where you are, and I wanted the same feeling in the physical version. I simply just wanted a guide. This is actually one feature I obsessed over for months. I wanted something mechanical. I looked into chess clocks, flip clocks, those old rotary clocks where little pages flip over, pretty much anything with a button that could advance from zombies play to plants play and so on. I even considered buying several different clocks just to take them apart and rebuild them. But I don't do this kind of things. And even if I managed to modify one, there was no guarantee I'd ever get it to working again. Eventually I realized I wasn't trying to build a machine, I just needed players to know what comes next. So I went back to the drawing board, and here's one of my early sketches. And this became the final turn tracker. Simple, easy to read, and it keeps everyone on the same page throughout the game. What's next? The cards are almost finished. I'm really excited to finally show them because they probably took the most work out of everything. I also tried to stay as faithful to the original app as possible. Not just mechanically, but visually as well. I wanted someone familiar with PvC Heroes to immediately recognize the game. So in the next video, I'll finally start showing the cards and explaining how I translated them into a physical format. Just a heads up, this will not have the look of traditional trading card games, but it will follow closely to the look from the app. To keep this project manageable, I decided to start with just 4 classes. That gave me enough to build a fully playable version while leaving plenty of room to expand in the future. Now I'm curious, can you guess which 4 classes I chose? Leave your guesses in the comments and I'll reveal them in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you've been enjoying this project, I really appreciate it if you subscribe so you don't miss the next update. I honestly can't wait to start playing this game with other people, and I'm planning to stream gameplays as well. See you in the next one.